U.S. bases targeted by Iranian missiles as the U.S. and Israel hit back with major strikes on Iranian sites. Explosions rocking Tehran, military targets and leadership compounds under fire. American troops in the Gulf are now in the line of fire as this thing escalates fast. Let's watch this clip first, then I'll explain what's really going on.
Good morning. Hi, Lawrence. I'm here in the D.C. Bureau, but I just want to point out that almost exactly 5 hours ago, we got the first alert that the Israeli missiles and the U.S. missiles had struck Iran. It was a joint operation from the get-go. I'm told that this operation will last not hours, but days. This is an open-ended operation with a wide variety of targets. I'm told from a senior U.S. military official that the U.S. is focusing on military targets, on ballistic missile sites, on anything that could pose an immediate threat on the Iranian Navy, but the Israelis are targeting Iran's leadership. So any of the targets that you hear about the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei being targeted, the defense minister being targeted, those are being carried out by the Israelis. Let me mention some of the targets that we know were hit this morning in Tehran: the Defense Ministry, the Parliament, the National Supreme Council, the Ministry of Intelligence, the Iranian Atomic Energy Agency. There have been cyber attacks across Iran, and the internet is not up and working, but the cyber attacks have focused on the news agencies like IRNA, which is the state-run television. The U.S. military has also targeted down in the south the naval bases in Bandar Abbas as well as in Kark Island. And then what's also interesting is out in the east of Iran, there's a target near Tabriz and Kermanshah, which is the IRGC aerospace forces. That's significant because that's where they would have been developing those long-range ballistic missiles, satellites that also could have been part of that intercontinental ballistic missile program that they were trying to develop that the president referenced. But the biggest problem right now is the stockpile of cruise missiles and ballistic missiles that the Iranians built up since last summer, because they were terribly degraded last summer in the 12-day war, but they have been working to rebuild that missile supply. We're seeing some of those missiles being fired at Israel. As Trey reported, they have, for the most part, been intercepted by the air defenses. But of all of the U.S. military bases in the Gulf, the only country where U.S. bases were not targeted this morning is Oman. And of course, Oman's foreign minister had been leading and mediating those talks in Geneva, and then came here to Washington to lobby Vice President J.D. Vance to try and avert what we've seen happening in the last 5 hours, and which is basically turning into a regional conflict. But there have been interceptions. The Qatari government has intercepted missiles fired toward a U.S. base, the Al Udeid air base, the largest air base in the Middle East. That's a U.S. base. Then in Bahrain, we did see one missile land.
The reporting says the joint op is targeting Iran's rebuilt ballistic missile stockpiles, naval bases, and regime leadership following intel on their rearmament. U.S. focusing on military assets, Israel on high-value figures. Verified from multiple sources: strikes on Tehran Defense Ministry, IRGC facilities, and nuclear-linked sites. Iran retaliated with missiles at U.S. bases in Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and the UAE, most intercepted, but the threat is clear. Here's where this gets dangerous. Even with degraded defenses, Iran has proxies across the region and can threaten oil shipping lanes. U.S. involvement means higher risk of American casualties and a wider war. Bottom line, it's a high-stakes effort to cripple Iran's military power, but with retaliation underway, it could lead to a prolonged conflict with huge implications for the region and the world.